Have you ever been reading something and just felt pulled in? Like the writer is guiding your thoughts without you even noticing? Well, I'm going to let you in on a secret. It's not magic. Every single sentence has a kind of hidden architecture, a structure that's deliberately designed to direct your attention. Today, we are going to crack that code.
Okay, let's start with this sentence. The soldier laid down his rifle slowly. Seems pretty straightforward, right? It's just a clear, simple statement of facts. You get the information and you move on. Nothing fancy.
But watch this. We make one tiny little change, and suddenly the whole feeling shifts. Slowly, the soldier laid down his rifle. Whoa, now there's tension, right? A sense of deliberation. That slowness is now the most important thing in the sentence. It's almost cinematic.
So what's going on here? The words are exactly the same. The event is the same. So why does just shuffling the order change the entire experience for us as a reader? Well, that is the puzzle we are going to solve today.
To really get to the bottom of this, we need to talk about two key concepts that unlock this whole system, and they are called theme and rheme. You can think of them as the basic building blocks of any message.
First up, we've got the theme. The theme is basically the sentence's starting point. I love this analogy. It's like the "you are here" pin on a GPS map. It gets you oriented, it gives you a frame of reference, and it tells you, hey, this is what we're talking about right now.
And if the theme is our starting point, well, the rheme is the rest of that journey. It's all the new information, the juicy details. It's the part of the sentence that develops the theme and tells you something new about that starting point. So let's look at our first sentence again using this new lens. You can see it's a really clean split. The soldier, that's our theme, our starting point. Everything else that follows, laid down his rifle, is the rheme. That's the new info we learn about our soldier. Simple enough.
Okay, let's really dive in, because this is where things get so powerful. The real magic isn't just spotting the theme and rheme, it's understanding what happens when a writer intentionally decides to change that starting point.
You know, in English, we kind of have a default setting. We expect the subject of the sentence to come first. This is what linguists call an unmarked theme. It's the normal, predictable structure we see all the time. And because it's so common, it doesn't really draw any attention to itself.
But, and this is a big but, a writer can choose to break that pattern. When they put something else at the start of the sentence, like an adverb, it creates what we call a marked theme. And this is a deliberate choice. It's the writer's way of putting up a little flag and saying, hey, pay attention, I'm framing this differently for a reason.
And what's so cool here is that by putting slowly in that theme position, the writer forces us to focus on the manner of the action. The slowness becomes the lens through which we see everything else that happens. That's exactly where all that tension comes from.
And we can add even more layers to this. Check this out. If you start with a connecting word like nevertheless, you create what's called a textual theme. It instantly frames the action. It tells us that this happened in spite of something else, some unspoken obstacle. It's building a bridge to a thought that came right before it.
And this one brilliantly shows the power of an interpersonal theme. Starting with a word like sadly injects the narrator's own judgment, their own emotion, right into the DNA of the sentence. We're being told not just what happened, but how to feel about it, right from the very first word.
So, the crucial point here is that this isn't just about shuffling words around for fun. That choice of what to put in the theme position, it's one of the most powerful tools a writer has to control perspective, focus, and emotion.
All right, so now let's zoom out a bit. Let's see how this idea builds from just a single sentence into the very fabric of an entire text. Writers use these exact same principles to guide us from one idea to the next, creating that smooth, logical flow that's so satisfying to read. This is a concept called thematic progression. It's basically the pattern, the way writers skillfully link the themes of their sentences one after another, creating this logical chain that just pulls the reader along effortlessly. So a really common pattern is something called linear progression. Look here. The new information, the rheme of the first sentence, which is the room, becomes the starting point, the theme of the second sentence. Then the new info from that sentence, the silence, becomes the theme of the third. It's like a relay race, passing the baton from one idea to the next. It creates this amazing forward momentum. Another really cool technique is called constant theme progression. In this case, the writer keeps coming back to the same theme over and over again. Here, it's the house. See how each sentence starts with it?
Each sentence adds a new piece of information, a new rheme, but the focus stays relentlessly fixed, building this super detailed and concentrated picture of one single thing.
Once you start seeing this underlying structure, I promise you're going to find your reading with brand new eyes. You start to see the craft behind the words. You see the intentional choices that writers are making in every single line. Because when you get right down to it, this isn't just about some abstract grammar rules from a textbook. No way. It's the grammar of perspective. The choices a writer makes about what to put first, well, that reveals what the text itself considers important. It tells you who has the power, who has the agency, and whose point of view you're being guided to adopt. The linguist Paul Simpson put it perfectly. He said that these patterns are never ideologically innocent. Just think about it. A news report that constantly starts its sentences with "the protesters" is building a very different view of the world from one that constantly starts with "the police." It's all about where you place the agency, the responsibility. So the next time you read anything, a news article, a novel, your emails, whatever, I want you to pay attention to what comes first. Pay attention to the theme, because now that you know the code, what hidden perspectives will you start to see?